I am here with the Maryland native Chef Dark Coco, breaking down the difference between blue crab and Dungeness crab. Let's go.
Right, the Dungeness crab is a lot bigger, right? So you get a lot bigger, you get a lot of bigger pieces. So you get those long, big pieces of crab, just dip it in that butter or whatever the case may be. Now, I prefer the Dungeness crab because it's bigger, but then it is easier to eat. But then you talk about flavor. Now, the blue crab actually, to me, has more flavor. It is sweeter and saltier, but you gotta work. You gotta work. The blue crab has
Yeah.
better flavor, but again, you gotta work, man. That Dungeness crab, you break off one piece, you get a big old piece of crab meat, just dip it in butter, bam. But that blue crab is so salty and sweet, has so much flavor, you don't even necessarily need butter, especially when it's fresh. So the blue crab flavor is better. You just gotta work, man. And then
So
like the fish, uh
so in all honesty, like the difference between the two crabs is the taste.
mhm,
And in Maryland and Baltimore and just in Maryland in general, it's the culture of sitting around cracking crabs and eating them. So the sweetness, of course, comes from just the meat itself, right? The meat is
yeah,
just very delicate and very sweet. The saltiness comes from the flavor profile that you steam the crabs in.
mhm,
So it's definitely you get the contrast of the sweet and salty in your mouth. It's like a party going on in your mouth at the same time. But a
yeah,
Dungeness crab is a little more brinier.
yeah,
It's almost like having a farm raised fish versus a wild caught fish.
mhm,
It's the difference between having steak and lamb. Like steak is going to taste more domestic. It's going to be, what's the safest, right? And people will go, yeah, give me a steak, give me a steak. But when you go lamb chops and they never had it, it's like, ooh, it smell like a steak. The texture is kind of sort of that of a steak, but the taste is a little bit different. It's a little gamier, right? So that's the major difference between the two, of course, in the size. But in Baltimore, it's about the laughter. It's about community
yeah,
and family and friends coming
yeah.
together, cracking those and it's an art to cracking it open. I'm gonna have to show you how to crack it open because it's
Then you got to
literally.
show me,
I don't
man,
do
because
you
I'm a
do
rookie.
cracks?
Hell yeah. And
Okay.
at least once a month, but I only eat Dungeness crab once in a while. If I'm around somebody from like Virginia, Maryland, or whatever, then I'll have the blue crab there. But I ain't gonna lie, man. When I see that Dungeness, I'm like, I could get into it quick, and hey, it doesn't have as much flavor as the blue crab, but I'll go ahead and just dip it in butter and throw some seasoning on there, and I'm good.
Now you
But I
know.
do agree. Huh?
Now you do know that blue crabs come in different sizes, correct?
Okay, okay. Usually
Okay,
when I
so you
see
don't
them,
have
I'll
to
go ahead.
get small ones. You can get big ones. They're not going to be ever as big as the Dungeness, but you can get extra
Yeah.
large or jumbo crabs and
Mhm.
still get the same thing going.
Okay, okay. Most of now I'll say this too about the blue crab. It's a lot softer, so it like melts in your mouth.
Yes,
The texture is
absolutely.
softer. Hmm. Most of,
Absolutely. And then if
most
you
of,
get a soft shell crab, if you get a soft shell crab, the soft shell crab, you can actually dip it in batter and fry it and do a soft crab, a soft shell crab, like a fried crab sandwich, soft shell crab sandwich. It is
yeah,
really
yeah. I was about to say since it's so soft, it can be easily manipulated. That's probably why it goes so well with crab cakes. It's as far as crab and rice and things of that nature because it's so soft. It could be easily manipulated to whatever dish that you're making.
well, that too, but like it's something in the process of the soft shell crab that makes it soft because there are certain crabs that there are certain like you have to buy a soft shell crab. So I can't remember like where the crab was in the life process because honestly they were once a living thing. I don't know where the crab is in the life process for the shell to be soft, for it to be fried, but it's something different in the lifespan of the crab. And if someone is watching this when they tap in, I'll do some research when I get off. But it's a little difference between a soft shell crab and a hard shell crab. Like they literally separate the two and sell them separately. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. That makes sense. I'm
Yeah.
a flip flop a little bit, right?
Okay.
There's an old saying that says it's not about the wand, it's about the wizard, right? So with that being
Right.
said, it's simple, right, to make. However, you got to know what you're doing. So with that being said, when it comes to the crab meat, do you get lumpy crab meat? Um,
Lunch. lump.
like lump, and then why, and then also why lump, and then when you're putting it together, why do you have to make sure that it's lumpy instead of as far as pulls? I
So
wanted you to break that down a little bit.
so for the science of a crab cake, I do a restaurant style crab cake. I don't use any filler at all.
Mhm.
The only binding agents that is in my base is a slightly beaten egg and the mayonnaise and that sauce. Like that's the only thing that's holding my crab cake together. There is no breadcrumb, no anything.
I was about to say, you gonna do breadcrumbs?
Heck no.
Why not? Oh, snap me up. I thought you see me. I'm thinking that's the rule. You got to put breadcrumbs in your crab cake.
So remember I said in the beginning, there's like a restaurant style and there's a boardwalk style. So when you add the
Yeah.
breadcrumb to it and you put the crumb on the outside and you fry it, that's more of a boardwalk style. It's a good crab cake. For that specific crab cake, I would use I wouldn't use claw. Nobody should use claw for anything. I mean, goodness, like it's going to be so many shells in that, right? So, but like a jumbo lump to a lump for sure for a restaurant style cake because you're not using any breading. So you can go just plain lump. You don't have to go jumbo lump because what you don't want to do is you don't want to disturb the lumps of meat. You don't need to shred the crab. You don't need to break it down. Just let the lumps stand on their own.
Why is that?
Well, because you just want meat. You just want pieces of meat. So you know how we talked about how you pick through a crab to get that little bit of meat out? Somebody took the painstaking task of doing that for us. Why we want to break that up? Just let it be what it's going to be. The integrity of the crab is still in place. The taste is there. And I sprinkle my crab meat before I add it to the mixture. Because I don't need salt. I don't need the saltiness. Like I don't need heavy salt. You can have other flavors. Like I'm okay with adding a little bit of garlic paste or some garlic, but it's got to just be seafood seasoning and fresh parsley, and that's it. I don't do anything else.
So seafood seasoning. So you mean to, hey, I mean, you know what? I might as well give myself a shout out.
Absolutely, your seafood seasoning is amazing, and there are other seafood seasonings. You do not have to use Old Bay.